a 我 i 无 u i a v o o u 也月 r an n in 温晕 on n 英翁波破莫佛的特能了格可和及其西只吃时日自思思一无 and These are basically all we did in the first semester of primary school on our Chinese course. Hello guys, since now that we've learned 210 characters, it seems to be the right time to start a special session on pronunciation. I have asserted before that Chinese is a non-alphabetic or non-phonetic language. Now I still stay with the statement. Nevertheless, as you go deeper in your learning, you will see that many Chinese characters, I would say over half of them, actually has a part that indicates sound. For instance, this character is yang. It means sheep or goat. And then you will see many characters that look kind of similar. For instance, this is yang. It means ocean. And this one is yang. It means look. This one is yang. It means oxygen. This one is yang. It means illness. This one is yang. It means itchy. This one is also yang. It means to pretend. And this one is also pronounced yang. It means to idle around or to wander around in a relaxed manner. Now, if you know this character yang, which means sheep or goat, it will be much easier for you to recognize the pronunciation and to memorize the look of these other 7 characters because they all have a part that is this character, yang. That's why I would say that the Chinese language is definitely not entirely ideographic. To be ideographic means that you can tell the meaning of a language from the look of it. Chinese is widely said to be ideographic, but that's only true for some of the characters. And Chinese is not totally non-phonetic either. In fact, it has a strong sound representing even alphabetic-like elements. And there are many other examples like the one I gave about the yang character just now. But you will learn that only after you learn a significant number of Chinese characters. For now, if you're just starting to learn, these characters will still look outright non-alphabetic to you. That is, you wouldn't be able to tell how to pronounce them from the look of them at all. So what to do? Luckily, we have some phonetic systems to help us. And these are systems developed to transcribe the sounds of Chinese characters so that it's easier for people to read them. We have the Pinyin system that is widely used on the Chinese mainland. We also have the bopomorpho system that is used in Taiwan. And we also have the weight-jiao system that was once widely used. But in this course, I will use Hanyu Pinyin because first, born and raised on the Chinese mainland, I practically know nothing about the bopomorpho system. And second, the Hanyu Pinyin system is a romanized one that is more comparable to Euro languages, especially English, while the bopomorpho system doesn't seem to be so. And third, the Hanyu Pinyin system is more widely used compared to weight-jiao system, which, though also a romanized one, is no longer widely used anymore. But we have to admit it still has a strong mark on the English language. The Hanyu Pinyin system is a set of phonetic symbols that spell out the sounds of Chinese characters with the Latin alphabet. Hanyu means the language of the Chinese people or the language of the Han people, and Pinyin literally means spelling the sounds. Now here's something that is very important. With Hanyu Pinyin, each Chinese syllable, that is each Chinese character, is spelled out with a shengmu and a yunmu. Shengmu are the consonants at the beginning of the syllable. They are called initial sounds or initials. They are all consonants. And yunmu are called final sounds or finals. Yunmu are not necessarily all vowels, but they mostly are, except for some that contain a nasal consonant at the end. And each shengmu and yunmu may be comprised of one or more letters. Some Chinese characters only have yunmu. For instance, this character, I, which we learned before, its pinyin is like this. It is a yunmu, I. It doesn't have a shengmu. It doesn't have a consonant. And also this one, R, we met this one before. Its pinyin is er, R. It is a yunmu, a vowel. There's no consonant or shengmu in its pinyin. Apart from these ones that contain only yunmu, the rest of the characters all have sounds that's comprised of one shengmu and one yunmu. For instance, the pinyin for men, as in 你们, which means you guys, men. The pinyin is like this. In this pinyin, the M symbol, m, is the 声母, and the en symbol, n, is the 韵母. And this little thing there is the tone symbol. The tone symbols in the form of diacritics are also part of pinyin, and they are always put on the 韵母. So you can see the pinyin for this character, men, comprises of a 声母 m and a 韵母 n, m, men. This is the case for all the Chinese characters, except for those that don't have a 声母. If you open any Chinese textbook for primary school first graders, they will tell you there are 24 韵母. That is the 6 单韵母, the single finals, which are a, wo, i, u, yu. The 9 复韵母, literally compound finals, which are a, v, o, ou, ye, yue, er. And the 5 前鼻韵母, the 5 front nasal finals, which are an, en, in, wen, yun. And lastly, the 4 后鼻韵母, the 4 back nasal finals, which are ang, en, ing, weng. They will tell you there are 24 vowels. But let's just call this 24 vowels or 24 韵母, basic 韵母, or 基础韵母. Let me explain why I would call them 基础韵母. It all depends on how you define 韵母 or the finals. The thing is, some Chinese syllables are spelled with one 声母, that is one initial consonant, but more than one vowels. This may sound self-contradictory because in English, one vowel is one syllable. How come one syllable can have more than one vowels? But it is just the case in Chinese. In Chinese, let's just take each character as one syllable. But there are characters whose pinyin contains more than one 基础韵母. For instance, this character is 双, it means pair or double. Its pinyin is like this, 诗乌昂双. The initial or the 声母 is 诗, represented by the sh symbol. This is quite clear. But then its final is a combination of two vowels, 乌 and ang. The first one is 乌, represented by the u symbol. And the second one is ang, represented by the ang symbol. And this second vowel, ang, actually is a combination of one vowel and a consonant. So we can say that this character 双 is spelled with one 声母 and two 韵母. And this indeed is the way things are put in Chinese textbooks for primary schools on the mainland of China. In these books for small children, such spelling is called 三拼法, literally spelling with 3. The 3 being one 声母 and two 韵母. And the more simpler spelling with one 声母 and one 韵母is called 二拼法, that is spelling with 2. But then it wouldn't be problematic to just define 1 as one 韵母. And that's how we'll do things in this course. That is, we will take 乌, represented by the letter U, as one 韵母, and ang, represented by ang, as one 韵母, and wu ang, uang, as another 韵母. This way, we'll only have to bother ourselves with using 二拼法 or 三拼法, because then each character will be spelled with one 声母 and one 韵母, be it a 基础韵母 or a bigger 韵母with two 基础韵母. The thing is, because those 24 基础韵母 can only be combined in limited number of ways, so even when all possible combinations are taken into account, we will only still have 36 or 39 韵母, which will still be quite manageable. I studied why some would say that there are 39, but to me, to differentiate sound to that degree is not necessary and only complicates things. So in this course, I will introduce 36. If you are interested, you can check out the pinyin table on Wikipedia. They got all the 39 there. And regarding the 声母, there's generally no dispute that there are 21 if you do not take into account the E and U represented by Y and W, and 23 if you take the 2 into account. Now here's our plan. We will go over the 韵母first, and then the 声母. And at that stage, we will focus only on the sound without doing any spelling and without looking at any characters. We will just try to get the sounds right. And then after that, I will try to go over the sounds of all commonly used Chinese characters in the alphabetic order, that is, in the order of them in the Chinese dictionary. and at the same time doing a lot of spelling. Presumably after that, you would know how many sounds there could be for the Chinese language and how to spell them with pinyin. Don't worry, there won't be as many as you might imagine. Only a finite number of finals could be paired with each initial, and some initials pair only with a very small number of finals and vice versa. So there won't be as many as you might imagine. Okay, let's not talk about theories anymore and get into the real stuff. I said we are supposed to learn Chinese like a baby. Actually, babies learn vowels well before they can distinguish and enunciate the consonants. In this sense, we should learn vowels or the 韵母 first, and that's what we shall do now. Now let's start with the 6 most simple vowels called 单韵母 or single finals. These are definitely monophthongs. That is a vowel that has a single perceived auditory quality. The first one is a. If you do the 4 tones, it will be a, 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 a. Let me introduce 2 characters with a as the 韵母. The first one is ma. This character means mom. Its pinyin is like this, represented by ma. M is the 声母 m, and a is the 韵母 a. So it's spelled ma, ma. And this next one is ba. It means dad. Its pinyin is like this. The 声母 is represented by b, which is ba, and the 韵母 is represented by a, which is a. It's spelled ba, ba. No, it's spelled ba, ba, because it's in the 4th tone. This next one, represented by the English letter O, is wa. This one is interesting because how to pronounce it is actually controversial, even on the Chinese mainland in the education community. And people argue that it should be O or even O, but don't listen to them. Maybe I will make a separate video on all this controversy surrounding the sound of this 韵母. But then you don't have to bother yourself with it. Just remember it is wa, because that's the only way how things could be right. And this one is a. It is kind of like the sound represented by this phonetic symbol for English. For instance, this character means goose. It is pronounced a. So this 韵母 on its own could be the pinyin for one character. That is a. The sound in gear is kind of like this. This next one is e, represented by the letter I. It's very similar to the e sound in English. And this next one is u, represented by the letter u. Does English have the sound? Yes, it does. Like 2, number 2. The u sound is basically the same with this one. Even the phonetic symbol is the same, because in the phonetic system for English, the sound is also represented by a symbol that is kind of like the letter U. This next one is like this. It is a letter U with 2 dots on top. This is how it sounds. U. Listen again. U. 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 I don't believe English has this sound. Like this character, it means fish. It's pronounced yu. But when you write the pinyin for this character, you'll have to write yu instead of the symbol for the 韵母, which is this yu. As to why you have to write yu instead of yu to represent the same sound yu, you don't have to bother yourself with it. It's very complex. Just remember that when you see yu, it's pronounced yu, 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 yu. And this one is yu because it's in the 2nd tone. So those are the 6 single finals, or the 6 单韵母, 6个单韵母. A, wo, i, u, yu. A, a, wo, wo, wo. I, i. U, u, yu, yu, yu. A, wo, i, u, yu. Now let's come to the 9 compound finals, 9个复韵母. 复韵母 literally means compound finals, but then you will have to distinguish this one with the diphthongs in English. Diphthongs in Chinese is 双元音. It refers to those vowels in English that is bigger, that moves from one vowel to another, like this vowel, ow, and this vowel, o, and this one, I, and this one, oi. These are all diphthongs in English. But then the 复韵母 in Chinese, although they are called compound finals, I don't think they are diphthongs. And this is very important, especially for people whose mother tongue is English. Just look at them. Now this first one is I, represented by the letters A and I. If it's an English phonetic symbol, you would read it as I, as in I am Chinese, I. I is a diphthong. But in Mandarin, if you see this pinyin symbol, do not read it as I because it's not. It's I. Actually, it doesn't move from one vowel to another. It's just one simple vowel. It is I. If you read it as I, it would be too wide, too big. I. Now this character, I, which means love, its pinyin is written like this. This 韵母 with the fourth tone symbol. It is I. Don't read it as I. That sounds very English. It's just I, not I. That's what I mean by do not consider these compound finals, these 复韵母, as diphthongs in English. They are mostly not diphthongs. Like if you spell it with the consonant b, it is bai, bai. Bai, bai. This character, bai, which means to break apart. Bai kai, you would say bai. Don't read it like by. It's not by. It's just by. So this is I. Now the next one is A. Similarly, it sounds like the sound of the letter A in English. But then it is not A, as in age, gate. It's not that wide. It's just A, like this character. Also with the 声母 背着, it means to carry on the back. 我背着你. You read it as 背, not 背. If you say 背, that sounds too English. It's actually not a diphthong. It's just a simple vowel. 背, a. Now the next one is we, represented by the letters ui. We. If you combine it with the 声母, like the 声母 represented by d, which is the, then it's 的 we, 对. This character, 对, we have met before. It means correct or yes, 对. You just say it as 对, not 对. You know, it's if you say it like 对, people know you speak English as mother tongue. It is 对, fast and crisp, 对. So it's not a diphthong. The next one is all, represented by letters A, O. In English, it will be ow, not ow. They don't have this as a phonetic symbol in English, but in Mandarin, it is all. It is not ow or some bigger vowel. It's just the simple all. Like this character, we saw this one before. It is 跑, which means to run. It's of the third tone. 跑. This vowel actually is bigger. If it's in the third tone, it's always bigger than the other tones, because the third tone is falling and rising. All. The third tone is always bigger, so it is 跑. But still, it is just 跑. It's not 跑or some bigger diphthongs. And this character is 包. It means purse. The 声母is 包. It is 包. You don't read it as 包. It is 包. The next 韵母 is O, represented by a combination of letters O and U. O. Again, short and crisp. O. Like this character 后, we learned this one in the word 时候, which means when. 和 O 后, the 声母 is represented by the letter H, which is 和 O 后. If you do the other tones, they would be ho, 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 ho. Don't pronounce it as ow, as in goat. We also have this character dou. The 声母 is the o dou, which means all. Avoid pronouncing it as dao. It is dou. The next one is pronounced you. It is represented by a combination of letters I and U. You, 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 you. Like this one is a common family name in China, that is Liu. The 声母 is le, represented by letter L. Le yu liu, le yu liu, 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 liu. English doesn't have this sound. I cannot think of any. Yeah. The next one is ye, ye. It's written like this, an I and an E. We actually learned a character with this one. You remember this character? It is 借, which means to lend or to borrow. Its pinyin is written like this. The 声母 is 鸡, represented by the letter J. 鸡, 几页, 借. That's how it's spelled. 几页, 借. The 声母 is 鸡, the 韵母 is 叶, the fourth tone. 几页, 借. 接, 结, 解, 借. So this is the 韵母, 耶. The next one is written like this. This symbol with the two dots and the E. It is pronounced 约, 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 约. Yes, we also learned a character with this one. You remember this character? It is 学, which means to study or to learn. Its pinyin is written like this. Now the 声母 takes the form of the letter X, but then it's pronounced 西. This one is very hard for people whose mother tongue is English because this sound 西 doesn't exist in English. The 声母 is 西, the 韵母 is 约. It's spelled 西约学, 西约学, as in 学习. So 学, 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 学. Now this is the 韵母 约. This last one is R, represented by a combination of letters E and R. If you see this, you know it's the 韵母 R. You almost always pronounce this with the R sound, that is the R sound. Some southern Chinese or people from Hong Kong and Taiwan, they might say 儿子. This is the word for son, as in father and son. In Mandarin, we would always say 儿子. Nobody would say 儿子 or 孩子. It doesn't work that way. But you might hear some people from South China say 儿子. Just when you see this pinyin symbol, ER, it is R. And we saw this character, R, in the phrase 一会儿 and 一点儿. 我会说一点汉语. I can speak a little Chinese. 一点儿. Do not read it as 一点儿. You read it as 一点儿. Anyways, I will make a separate video on the R sound in Mandarin. Now these are the 9 compound finals or 复韵母 in Chinese. I, A, V, O, U, Ye, Yue, R. But as I mentioned before, although they are called 复韵母, compound finals, most of them are very short, crisp vowels. Don't pronounce them like diphthongs in English. Now let's come to the 5 front nasal finals, or the 前鼻音韵母 or 前鼻韵母, front nasal finals. They all end with the N sound. The first one is an, 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 an. Like this character, 看, which means to see, or to read, or to look. 可按看, the 声母, is represented by the letter K. It is 可. It's spelled 可按看. And this one is 班. We saw this one in to go to work, 去上班. It's spelled 不安班. You don't read it like ban, the English word to ban something. It's not as big as that. It's 班. The next one is 恩. 恩, 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 恩. Like this character, 人, which means people or person. It's spelled 日恩人. The 声母 is 日, represented by the letter R. It is 日, 日恩人. 恩, 恩, n, n. The next one is in. It's written as in. In, in, yin, yin, yin. We saw this one in this character. Yin, which is the polite form of you. This character is spelled n, yin, nin. The 声母 is n, written as the letter n. N, n, yin, nin. And we also have 播音宾, 破音拼, 么音min, 了音连, 基音金, 气音勤, 西音心. That's all the sounds of characters that has in as the 韵母. We will come to that later. The next one is 温, written as u plus n. 温, 温, 稳, 稳, 稳. For instance, if you spell it with the 声母 的, it will be 的温蹲, 的稳蹲, 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 蹲, 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 蹲. This last one is 晕, 晕, 云, 允, 韵. It's written this way, the U with 2 dots and an N. This character means cloud. Its pinyin is like this, 云. This is what we call a 整体认读音节. That is, you don't spell it, you just remember that when you see Y-U-N, you know it's just a changed form of this symbol for this 韵母, 云. And also if you combine it with the 声母, there are only 3 combinations. That is 积云君, 气云群, 西云勋. These are all very hard for you. My given name has the character 群. This character 群. It means group. Its pinyin is like this. It's spelled 七云群. So 晕, yun, yun, yun. Now those are the 5 front nasal vowels. Let's come to the last 4, the back nasal vowels. These are the 韵母 that ends with ng sound. The first one is on. On, 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 on. We saw this character 商 in the word 商店, which means shop. 商 is spelled 是昂商 with the 声母 sh and the 韵母 ang, 是昂商, 商, 赏, 赏, 上. The next one is ng, 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 ng. This character is 能, as in, can you speak Chinese? 你能说汉语吗? 能 is spelled 呢能. The 声母 is 呢, the 韵母 is 呢能. The next one is 应, spelled ing. You remember this character? 行. We saw this one in the word 步行, which means by walking or on foot. 行 is spelled 西营行. The 声母 is 西, the 韵母 is 应, 西营行. 应, 营, 影, 应, 兴, 行, 醒, 性. The last one is 翁, written as O-N-G. 翁, 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 翁. Remember this character? It is 种, as in the phrase for all sorts of, 各种各样的. 种 is spelled 知翁种. The 声母 is 知, and the 韵母 is 知翁种. If you do the other tones, it will be 中, 种, 种, 种. And also 中, we also saw this character, as in China, 中国, 知翁中. So, ang, eng, ing, weng, those are the 4 back nasal vowels, or back nasal finals. Now this, a, wo, i, u, ü, a, a, v, o, o, u, ye, yue, r, an, eng, in, wen, yun, ang, eng, ing, weng are the 24 basic finals. 24个基础韵母, the 24 basic finals. As I mentioned, there are still 12 others to make 36 finals. 36个韵母. Now let's look at the other 12.